Hi guys, a quick precursor. I'm here today in my signature low effort hoodie, uploading pretty late, and I want to talk about why for a minute. And I know a few people are always like, I hate when you talk or explain yourself before a video, just get into it, but that's just who I am. I'm sorry. I recently started taking medication for anxiety, which is something I've needed to do for a long time now. It's been a pretty lifelong struggle of mine, and this medication has a pretty rough adjustment period. So for this video, and for my next few ones, as we figure out the right dose and everything, I might be a little low energy. I might be a little more scatterbrained than usual. I might not take any big projects for a short time, but I appreciate you all being patient with me. It's a big step, and I'm happy to be taking it, and I don't mind talking about it because you never know who's watching and who could benefit from hearing or relating to something like this. But if you happen to be new here, and that means absolutely nothing to you, this is just a recurring series on my channel where I go through new or upcoming fashion doll releases. I try to do this every month or so, but it's been a minute since my last one because there just hasn't been a lot of news lately. Even now, I don't have a ton of things to talk about, and some of it is quite old news by now, but yeah, that's enough of the intro. Let's go ahead and get into it. As always, we'll be starting with Barbie, the one and only. And there's actually not a lot from Barbie. See, that's when you know it's been dry, when there's not even a lot of Barbies to talk about. There was the Barbie movie teaser trailer, of course. That was fun. And we know we're getting dolls for the movie, which I should say there are photos of one of them out there. Some people saw them in stores, actually. They were set out a little too early, but I can't show them or mention who they are or even talk about them for too long, because despite these photos being taken and shared completely and totally legally, a lot of accounts are getting in copyright trouble for showing them, so tread at your own risk. I mean, if Hasbro is sending the freaking Pinkertons to someone's home because they bought Magic the Gathering cards early, then I guess we should all prepare for trained assassins to show up at our doors because we saw a Barbie doll a few months before we were meant to. Anyways, there is one thing I can show. There's a new Barbie style set. This one is a 2-pack with Barbie and Ken, and this is actually our first ever Barbie style Ken doll. And the Barbie, she's kind of meh to me. You already know I don't care much for the Barbie-style dolls. She has a cute outfit, though her shirt looks a bit like arteries to me. Don't like that. Ken, however, I actually like. His rooted hair looks nice. He has a nice face, a cute, simple outfit. It's $110 for both, which is not a price I'm willing to pay, but a lot of people do like these Barbie style sets, so I'm sure they'll go to the right people. I'm just warning you now, this video is almost entirely all Mattel products this time because that's just all there is right now. So I'll briefly go over the non-Mattel stuff on the agenda before we get to the others. From MGA, Bratz specifically, we have the long-awaited Tweevils 2-pack. These are on sale currently right now for $50, I believe. And I was initially kind of torn on the Tweevils when I first saw them because I don't know. I guess I was expecting them to do like updated looks for them rather than just making dolls of how they look in the cartoon, because I'll be honest, I don't really like the outfits they wear in the cartoon. I think they're really bizarre. But I guess that's kind of the point, you know? These are really highly anticipated characters people have wanted dolls of for years. So it makes sense that they should be recognizable and pretty referential to how they are in the show. So I think they accomplished really well what they set out to do. I actually really do love their more expressive faces. It's just, for $50, you know. There's also going to be an entirely new doll line dropping sometime soon, I think. VIP Girls, which are a spin-off of the VIP Pets toys. I think the concept is that they're the stylists of the pets, which is really cute, actually. And I think they're fun. They definitely have some creative designs, some cool hairstyles, actually. And I'm happy to see something that's not MGA or Mattel, so I definitely wouldn't mind seeing what they're like when they actually do release, assuming they do. I don't know, right now we just have a random listing from Amazon Germany to go off of, but we'll see. Moving on, back to Mattel. So, Monster High, we have a few things to talk about. So, there's supposed to be a new Skeletor drop based on Chucky and Tiffany. And at the time of me recording this, they're literally supposed to come out tomorrow, but they have not shown any actual images of them yet. If they do, I'll be sure to put in the stock images while I'm editing, I guess. Hi, editing me here. Yeah, they did actually finally release images of them 30 minutes before they went up for sale. I'm sure that was really fun for everyone who was waiting on them. I'm sorry, this video is a mess, but this time you can blame Mattel. I don't know what they're doing. Personally, I don't really care about the Skeletor dolls. I never really have. I'm not a big horror movie fan, so the Skeletor dolls just don't really cover properties or characters that I have a big attachment to. I doubt these will be any different, which is fine. It's one less thing to buy off Mattel Creations, which is always a blessing. Also from Monster High, we got a look at the Fang Vote Rochelle doll, sort of. According to them, this is a 3D rendering and the actual doll hasn't been manufactured yet since she's made to order, so the final doll may look a bit different. She was $90 and the pre-sale went up a few weeks ago and I did not order one. My thoughts on her are complicated. I think she's a bit too over-designed. Like, I just don't think there was a reason for them to push the limits of what they're able to accomplish on the budget they have to make an outfit they clearly can just barely afford to make. Honestly, one they can't afford to make because they had to cut details from the initial illustration that we saw, so that was a bit of a letdown. I understand that they want these dolls to feel collector and feel luxurious because they are for an adult audience, but I also don't think that these overcomplicated haute couture gowns are what Monster High is known and loved for. It would be more beneficial, in my opinion, to give the collector dolls simpler, more casual outfits with tighter execution, but that's just my take. And also from Monster High, the Fan Club exclusive Gulux Gulia Yelp stall. Now, I know there was some controversy for the whole Fan Club setup. People had their reservations about it, which I understand. If you don't know, it's $10 a year for membership, and you basically get early access to some drops. Some dolls are exclusively for Fan Club members. Whether that's worth $10 or not, that's up to you. That's your own decision. But despite my many issues with Mattel Creations, I did actually think this drop went pretty well. I think everyone who wanted a Gulia got one. She was up for a decent amount of time. And yes, I did buy her. She was $50, which I was surprised a little bit. I didn't think that was that bad of a price at all. I already have her here. Yes, that's how long it's been since I made the last video like this. Enough time for this doll to be announced, to go up for pre-order, to ship, and to arrive here. I do think that, similar to Rochelle, she is a little bit over-designed, but I think it works here a little better. It's a more interesting outfit than just another doll in a mermaid dress. And like I said, she was a way better price. Also, Monster High's first foray into fabric boots, and I have to say, they look really well done. Overall, yeah, Gulia is a win for me. But don't think Mattel Creations is out of the woods just yet, because apparently it's a recurring issue that people who ordered Gulia are not actually receiving her. And I don't know how widespread of an issue this is. I got mine, thankfully. But I have seen a few different people say theirs were mailed to the wrong address or just haven't shown up. And people that don't really have a reason to lie about this sort of thing, so God forbid something go right for ones with Mattel Creations, right? And I wonder why I never get PR. Again, from Mattel Creations, they've been quite busy, apparently. This one is a bit of a surprise, though, a Maleficent doll. Yes, Mattel is making collector's edition Disney dolls now, of the villains at least. Maleficent here is $150, which is... I know it's a Disney doll and all, and you're basically paying for the license, but... man, that's honestly kind of ridiculous. And don't get me wrong, she's a really interesting doll and all. Her face sculpt and the paint are really gorgeous, but... I don't know, I'm not a Disney villains kind of person. I'm more interested in the precedent set by this doll. Like, are we going to get Disney princess collector dolls made by Mattel too? And maybe not anytime soon, but it certainly does open up some interesting doors. And Maleficent, though, it's just not for me. Okay, I guess we can talk about the stuff coming out for the new live-action Little Mermaid movie, and there's a lot. I won't go over every little thing because it'll just get repetitive, but I think the only one that I showed in the last video was the Mattel kind of a basic mermaid doll, which I really liked. I thought the face sculpt was extremely well done, and even though it's a lot of molded on plastic elements, I think for a mermaid doll, that's fine, and the details are nicely done. I actually think of all the dolls we've seen so far, she might have my favorite tail design. The others just don't really capture it the same way. There's also a Mattel doll of her in a blue dress. I think it's supposed to be the movie's version of Ariel's village dress, or the Kiss the Girl dress, I think it's called. And I'm kind of going back and forth on it because, and I really hate to say this, but I don't think I like the dress, like, in general, just the design of it. And it may be that it just doesn't translate well to doll form, and it actually looks amazing in the movie, but I don't know. I think the mermaid designs, as we'll see, knocked it out of the park. All the fish women in this movie look amazing, but the dresses and the costume design, I don't know if I've been extremely impressed by so far. But I'm going to hold out till I actually see the movie to make that call for certain. It is a little too early right now. There's also a Disney Store doll, one last non-Mattel item here, of Ariel. And she comes with both a mermaid outfit and the blue dress. And I think I just really prefer the Mattel dolls to this one. The face sculpt is still nice. It's still pretty. It captures Hallie really well. But I just prefer the more stylized take from Mattel. I think the fabric tail that comes with this one is also just kind of boring compared to some of the other dolls. And again, that blue dress, I just don't love it a whole lot. There's a doll of Vanessa, and again, I don't know if it's giving necessarily what I want her to give. The fit of the dress is just kind of strange, and I don't know if I like the design of it, but it could just be that it's a gorgeous dress in real life that unfortunately didn't translate well onto a doll. It happens. Also, the dolls of Ariel and her sisters. And again, I really adore these designs. That's probably what I'm most excited for in this movie, is seeing Ariel and her sisters. I know they're probably not going to be a huge part, but every time I see them, I just think they all look incredibly gorgeous and creative. And I'm glad to see that they're getting a good amount of merchandise too, because I know that if I was a kid and I watched this movie for the first time, that's exactly what I would be hunting for afterwards. Dolls of all the sisters. And there's also a deluxe Ariel doll from Mattel with a fabric tail and this really cool stand that looks like water swirling around her. She's $45, which is a little more than I expected, but I do love her a lot. I actually pre-ordered her already. Of all the dolls, I will probably be satisfied with just this one, but we'll see. I've already bought tickets for the night the movie premieres, and I may just go crazy after watching it and want literally everything else. That's also been known to happen. But yeah, that's not everything that's coming out for the movie, but I think it should give you a good overview of the dolls. Overall, I'm pretty happy that they've gone so hard on the merchandising for this movie. Even if I don't want everything, I'm sure there's plenty of kids out there who will, and they'll get to live out all their little mermaid fantasies. I think that's everything I had on my list for today. Again, I know this was a weird entry in this series, but it's just been a weird few months for doll releases. I hope you still enjoyed watching regardless. Be sure to tell me all your thoughts down below, which ones you're buying, which ones you may have already bought, and which ones you think you'll be skipping out on. And when you're done with that, just be sure to like and subscribe for any future fashion doll content. Now go out and get those dolls.